Hello, and a massive hello to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day, great weekend wherever you may be. So hopefully my mic is on this time. Take two, take two, take two. So again, shout out, condolences to anybody who was affected by the horrible events in London this weekend. Let's hope it's the last. I doubt it, but let's no point changing anything. Life goes on, right? So what's happening? Here we go. So VIX waving its hands in the air like it just don't care. Equities keep on rallying and the VIX doesn't care. What I was saying 2 seconds ago when I was recording the video, which with my mute button on, actually was that don't believe the "it's different this time" crowd, right? Remember, we're talking about this time. We did that blog post about the fact it's not different this time. And, bam, we got the move higher. Now it's hovering here. The only difference is that sooner or later, no matter how much this hovers around, is most likely next time we get a spike, it's going to be straight into the 20s instead of the teens, right? Then it could easily come back down and go nowhere for a while or go lower. But don't waste your time with it's different this time. Sooner or later we'll get the move. Now, having said that, NASDAQ really doesn't care, and we've been talking about, some people say we've been obsessed, but we've been talking about unresolved business on the election day in the November range, and now it looks like it's a crazy talk, right? But that doesn't change our view. We still think there's unresolved business there, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. In terms of the equities, the most interesting thing, apart from this grind higher, continues to be the RUT or the Russell, simply because it's still holding, right? It's not following. So there's a lot there are a few interesting charts like this and with non-confirming. So here I think we'd still keep an eye on Russell. We still feel that even though this could break higher, we still think it's worth looking for possible short opportunities here, even though it's fairly bullish. These triple tops end up usually breaking higher. But we'll be looking at this very closely. We're still looking at retail stocks. We're looking at JP Morgan. We're looking at Goldman. We still feel that as long as we can hold this cap here on the financials, the 2080s are attracting. We could see a very decent break here. Remember, November action, right? So that's what we're looking at in terms of the equity side. In terms of the DXY, what's happening here on the DXY? Well, that hasn't changed, and you see how this has managed to make its way back into that November range. And what we said last week is even though it would be healthy to see some kind of a bounce on the move lower, it doesn't have to, right? It could easily break down. So as long as it holds this breakdown, we still think that that's the path of least resistance where we have some unresolved business. If we trade back above this zone, then we could get that healthy correction. But that's all we can look at it, and that's also manifested in the way we've been looking at yen and what we've been discussing on yen. We believe that this was a fake out, and the close back below this level was a very nice shorting opportunity to play the move back into the channel, and ultimately the continuation of this channel down all the way back into famous or infamous November. So right here, as long the 200 is going to be interesting from a daily close perspective. If we start to get daily closes below that, then we would expect the move back into the lower end of the channel. 108, 107s can come fairly quickly. If not, this would probably be an interesting place for it, or a logical place for it to try and bounce. Again, we'll have to see how everything opens tonight. GPB cable, remember our call was at 130, was 132 to the upside, 128, and we had all these closes here on the 1 hour. We discussed that in detail. We said this move back here was a beautiful little short opportunity for the 128. Now this hasn't really changed. Now we're stuck here, 128, 130 to the upside, 126 to the downside. We'll have to see what's going on. We still have a preference for a move back into 126, but right here, 128 is the pivotal level. Yeah, I forgot to say there's a fairly steady stream of data throughout the whole week. We've got all those PMIs out. We've got trade balance out of Australia. We've got a trade balance out of China. We've got Canadian data. We've got a rate decision out of the RBA. And then we have really the key is on Thursday because we've got potentially Comey testifying. We've got the ECB rate decision, Mario Presser, and we also have the UK election. So the event is going to be, the risk is going to be stacked towards the back end of the week. Euro GPB, what's happening on Euro GPB? Nothing much. We still expect this to grind higher. We felt there's unresolved business above here and unresolved business above here. We think all these levels are going to get cleared. The big question is, as long as we hold above this trend line, we expect them to get cleared in extensions. If we break back below, we expect this to hold for us to clear them lower. Clearly, we get daily closes below these moving averages, then the downside will likely attract very, very quickly. In terms of the ZBs, it's the same thing we've been discussing for a long time. Guess what? November range, right back up there. We still think we need to trade back towards the 160s before we decide what's happening here. Now, expect a lot of chop inside the 200 DMA, 50 DMA, 100 DMA. Likely we need a close below or above for the next move. Choppy action inside, closes above, we expect those 160s to come and print. Closes below, we expect the market to try and take out the 150s and move back to the 140s. Gold, what's happening in gold? Guys who watch these videos would not be surprised. We consider this to be the low for a move back into the 123 extension. The move from lows to highs back into the 50, hold of all the moving averages back into the 123 is into the 1340s. And surprise, surprise, what is coming back to haunt us is that November range in line. So you see how everything kind of falls into place. There's a lot of very nice levels kind of mixing and matching, right, and lining up. So that hasn't changed. Can we see a little sell-off here, a little two-way action around this 1300? Sure, that would be healthy, but ultimately we still expect the upside to be calling. And on crude, if you look at crude, what's happening on crude? Well, again, we looked at the OPEC as buy the rumor, sell the news. We expect a strong breakdown. Continues to confirm series of lower highs and lower lows. So again, here, as long as we can hold below all these moving averages, below this 49.50, we expect the path of least resistance is that we have unresolved business at the 45 possible bounce zone, but ultimately move back towards the 42.50s. Surprise, surprise, that's also coming in with that area around the November. So that's the way we're looking at things here. Now, a lot of stuff, we'll have to see how the market opens in the overnight session. Actually, what is it? It's June is not that great in terms of seasonality for the ES. I think it's probably the second worst, I think, after September. Don't take my word for that. But we'll have to see. But it should be interesting, especially with all those data points, and especially to see how the market opens overnight. And all we can do is look at charts, look at levels, find interesting places to engage, highlighting asymmetric risk reward opportunities. If that's the way you like to trade, that's the way we like to trade, and see what happens and keep an open mind. So again, have an awesome one. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for liking. Thank you for all the interesting and fun banter on Twitter. Take care. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. Stay safe, by the way, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye, guys.